Here.
It's over! Oh, a spectacular move! If you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball!
Welcome in to your Wednesday edition of Dropping Dimes. So somebody's got shades on. I don't know exactly what the hell you do.
1, 2, 3, Cancun, baby. 1, 2, 3, Cancun. I'm gonna go meet up with my boys.
Yeah, enjoy that.
13, Kawhi, Cancun, baby. Summertime.
Well, enjoy your time off, your off season. Yeah. Well, I don't know if we'll be talking much of any Clippers today. Considering there's other basketball games going on and you guys are in disarray. So we'll talk about the Clippers on a later date. I can't believe you just put on a bunch of oil.
It's
for the joke that
sunbum. I know it smells. It smells pretty good. It smells like Malibu rum.
what is
I went out to my
oil?
car and grabbed these like 2 minutes ago just for the bit.
Well, your commitment is thoroughly appreciated. Thank you very much. Well, shit. All right, let's just jump in. Last night's game.
Great game. I thought they were going to win. They're 3 points down, 5 minutes to go. And then, of course, Rondo's in the game and shoots a three-pointer. I'm like, okay, never mind. They're not going to
win. I mean, look, it was the Lakers' largest deficit of the playoffs so far. At one point in the third quarter, it was 20 points, and that's the most they've been down. Very easily, the Nuggets could be up 2-1 in this if that defensive rotation and switch didn't go completely awry at the end of game two.
I mean, he still would have hit that.
Maybe. I mean, I've heard all kinds of different stuff where LeBron overheard Jeremy Grant and Plumlee talking about what the switch is and the defensive assignments and whatnot. So then he played coy to free up Anthony Davis. Or perhaps it was just a botched rotation on Plumlee's part.
Yeah.
No clue. But AD still hit an amazing shot. And the Lakers are up 2-1 in the series. But, dude, last night was great. AD didn't get his first rebound until the fourth quarter.
That's crazy. But, their defense is what brought them back, which is another thing that upset me because it's like, and it was led by Rondo, who was Doc Rivers' ex-player, where I'm just watching this game thinking, that's exactly how Doc Rivers' teams are supposed to be. I thought Doc Rivers was the defensive coach. Where is this defense with the Clippers? So ridiculous.
I love it. Everything circles back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, last night, I thought once the momentum shifted, I thought the Lakers were going to take it, and then Jamal Murray was just like, not tonight.
He's so good. He is so good. Can we trade Paul George for Jamal Murray?
I don't think Denver would do that in a heartbeat. You'd have to put picks in there that the fucking Clippers don't have. Two of those threes, that one was just from so deep. As soon as he launched that one, I knew it was in. It was the one before where they really needed the bucket that was key. And then that huge dunk was just emphatic, nice little punctuation mark on the night. I love that Jokic came out guns blazing in the first quarter.
Yeah. Do you think he's ever going to go in a weight room and work out? Or do you think he's going to be kind of like the Dirk, kind of just that same player? Like not jump, just shoot. And
I don't know. I mean, he lost a decent amount of weight. So he's committed to some sort of, health aspect. Maybe he does and goes a little bit more
he puts on a little bit of muscle. He was going to be he'd be more of a even defensive threat as well. He'd be like an AD. AD's not the most athletic player, but he's just big and strong and long and shoot and everything. So I just think he's kind of missing some athletic ability in his game, which obviously he's not that athletic, but if you put on some muscle, it doesn't take athletic ability to be strong and aggressive and box out and defend and things like that. That's just like heart, And so if he can put on some muscle, I think he would be another tier up.
I just wonder if that little bit of muscle
mess up his shot and everything.
Yeah, and maybe slow him down ever so slightly.
Yeah.
Just having to move a little bit more mass around and would tire him out quicker.
Because you just look at him. You look at him in the game versus all these people who can't guard him. Who it's just like, and you just think, what's going on? How come you just look on page, take this person's photo, take this person's photo, and you wouldn't think this person couldn't guard that person. It's insane.
But the weird thing, so he had, two that I can recall, those little turnaround, I'm lifting one leg, floating back. One was this rainbow and just gorgeous little swish. And then the other one was late in the game where it just hit off the backboard and missed the rim by 1.5 feet, 2 feet. But every one of those, I can convince myself as soon it's like a Schrodinger's shot. It looks like it's going in and it's going to miss wildly, but more often than not, it goes in. It's so impressive to watch. That little floater at the end of the first quarter was a thing of beauty from a 7-footer, like this big, huge lumbering dude.
Yeah, and when he shoots, you see his hands so high up and just kind of like that weird. And it's so Dirk Nowitzki as well, and it's just funny to see sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, maybe putting on a little bit of muscle mass will be the key to unlocking him as a year-round threat of MVP and whatnot. Yeah. I have no idea. I think the weirdest thing last night was Jeremy Grant just flat out went off.
I mean, he did that to the Clippers. Was it game 5 or 6? Yeah, 5, I think it was 6. That he just like, I'm like, who is this kid? Like, it was unbelievable. And I mean, this is the first time he did against the Lakers, though.
He got doubled by the Lakers. In what world does that make sense? Did you ever think that you would see the Lakers double Jeremy Grant? And look, Jeremy Grant is a great player, but he's in there for his energy, his defense, like getting an occasional bucket here and there, not scoring. Last I saw, what was it, 23, 24 points, which is a career playoff high.
Yeah.
He's
a legacy player. Come on.
A legacy player?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Isn't he related to the Grants?
Oh.
Horace and Harvey?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
The twins, aren't they twins? Horace and Harvey?
Yeah.
He's a legacy player. Come on, he has it in his DNA. He's going to get better.
The Thunder have to be looking at this and saying, damn it, where was this when we had you? Yeah. Like we drafted you and you showed all the promise in the world, and then goes over there. Like Monty Morris had a hell of a game. At one point, it was everybody not named Jamal Murray was lighting it up for me. That's what they needed because I would imagine Murray and Jokic are tired. They have to carry the team every game. So to have all these other guys fill in the stat sheet can only help.
Yeah. But I mean, I thought it might have been a sweep after last game. I thought their heart was going to be gone. They got their heart broken.
Got it ripped out.
Yeah. But they won this game. Okay, great. But now all you did was just wake up Lakers again. So now that's it. Game's over. Series is over.
Over in the chat, Spiderhawk says that Jeremy is Harvey's kid. So there you go.
Harvey. Nice. The forgotten one.
Exactly. The one that didn't win 3 championships and then go off to Orlando and
Harvey didn't wear glasses. Horace wore glasses and he was on Chicago. Harvey was on like Washington Bullets and didn't wear glasses, so you never really recognized him. Like he just looked like every other player.
Yeah, and he also got overshadowed by the accomplishments of his brother, so you only focused really on the one of the two.
Yeah.
But I mean, if the Nuggets can do this a couple more times, this thing's going 7. If they can get points to come in from, you still think it's going to be 2 more for the Lakers and it's over?
They woke up a sleeping giant, just like Portland did before them. Just like it happens every series. They're asleep. They think they coast through it, and then they get slap in the face, and now like, okay, we got to come with it.
Okay, I mean, I think in the next game, if it's like Gary Harris, MPGA had a good game, but if Harris and Porter end up having the games that Monty Morris and Jeremy Grant did, and go, okay, there's 2 more guys to fill in the stat sheet, and then now we'll get our normal, assassin level from Jokic and Murray, and they're right in this all over again. 2 straight for the Lakers. You're saying it's done?
Yeah.
Well, then who in the next game needs to step up, not named LeBron and AD?
Every single person. Well, even LeBron. I mean, dude, LeBron and AD won, get more rebounds. I think Dwight's going to be a little more disciplined. He's going to be better. He's not going to get tags. He's not going to get dumb fouls. He's just going to play good D and get rebounds. AD as well. And I think LeBron is going to not be so passive, because it's so weird. Because like Jokic and Murray, they have that Kobe mentality, the Mamba mentality that Kawhi and Paul George don't, that LeBron doesn't. I mean, he kind of started. I thought he was going to take over a little bit. He made those 2 fadeaways in a row, and then he made a floater. Is 6 points in a row coming in the second half.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh, okay, there's him. He's like, give me the ball. I'm going to get us to the finish line. But then he still didn't. I mean, Rondo shoots a 3. He's passing AD. He doesn't have. I mean, he's old, but he never really had that. He's not an asshole. He's a nice dude. But you got to be an asshole. And Murray and Jokic have that. They want the ball. They want it on the last shot. They want it every time. Kawhi, Paul George, they don't have it, but they're the ones who should have it. So I think it's going to be people on the team that might, like a Kuzma, maybe Dwight Howard, someone who's going to get a little more passionate behind him and actually kind of like show up.
See, I don't know, Kuzma. They pointed it out in the last game, the broadcast team did, and it's true as you're watching it, because before they said anything, I noticed it is when Porter and Kuzma are D'd up on each other, and Porter makes a bucket.
Kuzma tries getting it back at him.
Exactly, comes right back down
and doesn't make a good bucket.
No, he doesn't. He forces a bad shot because he wants to prove he's the next up and coming young guy. Just like this is not the time for that shit, man. And unless you're hitting it, it's just like, okay, good for you type of thing. But find it in the flow of the offense, beat him as a team, grow, mature in that way. There's no point in trading buckets. You're not good enough for that right now. You're not a cold-blooded assassin.
I think Danny Green will come out have a good game next game. I think he'll hit some threes in the corner.
I could point you to 5 million Laker Twitter fans that do not agree with you, because he gets dragged after every game.
He has to, though. That's what I mean. Next, LeBron's going to get on there. Hopefully, if he's a good leader, will get on his ass, Kuzma's ass, and they'll come out there and they'll like be disciplined. Everyone should be more disciplined next game, because they could look at the stats like, look, this is why we lost. We shouldn't be losing. We lost it ourselves. They're not better than us, and then they should come out and play better. Hopefully, that's what I think. Wow.
I mean, I could genuinely see this going 7. The confidence of 5 from you is really impressive. Why not? Look, Nuggets could be up 2-1 right now. They know that. They were 1 switch away from taking game 2. So if they can get any kind of production, the confidence carries over into Friday, and they come out. Jokic does the same thing, which is what LeBron and AD need to do, is establish in the first quarter and the first half some sort of tone. But Jokic did that, which has mainly been coming from their second unit. Like when Plumlee checks in, he gives the entire team a spark, that they seem to be lacking. They're like, stuck in their paces. So if Jokic and Murray come out guns blazing, I think that sets the tone, and the rest of the team falls in line. In the chat, Sebastian puts out and says Vogel's mistake was that not having Dwight in the starting 5. What do you think about that? I
mean, game 1 and 2, yeah, I would say but he wasn't producing this game. All he was doing was kind of like trying to talk shit to Jokic, and Jokic would just hit a shot on him, and then what would happen? Yeah. Like, he wasn't doing anything. He was getting caught on head fakes. He was fouling. He wasn't doing much. I think he would have been great in that run when Rondo started getting steals. LeBron's blocking Millsap. I think he would have been great there because he feeds off that shit. He wants to be part of that, and so he would. But when the whole earlier part of the game, he wasn't doing nothing. He couldn't guard Jokic, unfortunately.
Hold on, I gotta sneeze.
He's too short. What is he, 6'10"? But they mark him as a 7-footer.
Yeah, something like that. There it is. One of those that was hanging in the background and didn't want to come out. Yeah, I mean, look, if that's the answer for the Lakers, then the Lakers are toast.
I mean, you saw that one rebound when Anthony Davis was like, "Come on, guys!" Like all mad. It was him and Danny Green fighting for a rebound, and it goes out of bounds. And it was like in a pivotal position of the game too. It's like in third quarter or something. And it's just stuff like that where it's like they're just kind of like weren't focused,
I mean, look, that's bound to happen. They just rattled off 6 straight wins, so they're more than likely thinking, yeah, all we have to do is kind of show up and we can win this game because we can out-talent them from our top-end talent, which is true. The top-end talent is still superior. But if the Nuggets can pour in with guys 4, 5, 6, and 7, and all those guys go off, well, now you got a serious problem because now you need your 4, 5, 6, and 7 to match.
Yeah. They're going to win next game. Denver might get game 5, but it's not going more than 6. But that's it. Denver might get one more. Denver might get.
Oh, okay. All right. Maybe
but next game's Lakers. Next game's Lakers by double digits. I'd say 9 to 11 points. I know 9's not double digits, but
it's on the verge. Yeah.
I'd say 13 points they win by.
Well, I mean, right now the spread from Vegas has been somewhere between 7 and 7.5, I believe. I know game 1 was 7, game 2 was 7.5. I'm not sure what game 3 was.
If it's 7, take it. If it's 7 for game 4, take that bet.
We'll see, man. We'll see. I think whoever comes out and is really inflicting their will early on is setting the tone for it. Now, obviously, it's a tale of two halves because the Lakers were down huge and then cut it with a bunch of defensive plays, and some of them were, if this was the regular season, those were fouls.
Yeah, but you see game 1 and 2, and they were doing that all game long. Like that was making me mad because I'm watching this and I'm like, so Clippers are making Jokic and Denver look like all-stars. All of them were looking like all-stars against the Clippers. And then here comes the Lakers and just like completely blocking their shots, stealing the ball. I'm like, look how easy they are guarding them. But we couldn't do that. It was so annoying. So Lakers doing that all game in the first 2 games. And they just started doing it in the fourth quarter of this game. That's the only difference. Jokic getting his shot blocked. Game 1, are you kidding me? Anthony Davis was schooling him on defense.
Well, he should. His length is one of a couple guys that can genuinely give Jokic. I'd say him and Embiid are the two that could give Jokic the most trouble in the league, and then everybody else, you can only slow him down is your best case scenario. I mean, Anthony Davis is this huge, long, spider-like creature that you can only do so much to get around him. It's going to be pump fake city from Jokic. I think the biggest killer for the Lakers last night were piss poor shooting from 3. I mean, Anthony Davis went 0 for 4. Nobody really had a good game from 3. I think as a team, they shot about 26% or so. And it's not like the Nuggets blew them out of the water. They shot mid-30s. But still, that difference, it's kind of impressive that it was only ultimately this close a game. It was almost double digits, but when there's that kind of disparity, plus I think the Nuggets were foolish when they get into the bonus with 9.5 minutes in the third quarter left. And, I take notes throughout the game, and at the 6-minute mark is like, they really haven't taken advantage of this, bonus situation. At the 4-minute mark, they still haven't really taken advantage of this bonus situation. I mean, you need to be driving and forcing these guys to make a decision of, are we going to give free throws or are we just going to give the bucket? Because, those fouls start adding up pretty quickly in those. I mean, granted, it's the playoffs, so you're going to get fewer calls, but at the same time, force the issue.
Yeah.
Coupled with Anthony Davis just deciding not to rebound the entire game, that one baffles me.
Yeah, I wonder, was he playing too far out? Was he like guarding? I don't know. When they went to the zone is when they start coming back. Maybe they'll come out and just do zone at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, which is it's interesting where zone on some teams is just the absolute, like the Celtics struggle so mightily against a zone. Toronto would prove that, and now the Heat, anytime they need to kind of basically staunch the bleeding or make a little comeback here, they switch over to a zone, and all of a sudden the Celtics look befuddled out there. I guess it's just because you don't run into it all that often, not since like high school or college, that you forget the best ways to take advantage of when someone D's you up in a zone.
I hope Boston wins. And I said this last time. I said if it goes 7 games, Boston has the advantage, which as long as tonight is the must win for Boston. If they win, I think they can come back. They can come out of it. They can win the series.
All right. Well, let's pivot over to that game. So you think tonight is how can it not be, given where you really need to knot this thing up at 2 apiece?
Yeah. Whoever wins this game wins the series, I'd say.
I like the Celtics and getting Hayward back. I said on this show that whoever won the Boston-Toronto wins the East. the previous round's matchup, and then the Heat made me look foolish the first 2 games.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. And why is Gordon Dragic still playing at this high level in the playoffs? Like, where's he
crushing it?
It's ridiculous.
Considering that Kendrick Nunn started 54, 55 games for them during the regular season, and then Spoelstra gets the bubble and said, we need the veteran leadership out there, and he was right.
Ridiculous. So crazy.
Now, do you think that Butler, especially in the first half, needs to be more assertive if the Heat want to take tonight's game?
Oh, he needs to come out minute 1. He just needs to be the first one to score on the Miami Heat. He needs to come out minute 1 and set the tone for the rest of the team. Like, hey, this is how we're playing. We're putting our foot on their neck right now, and we're not going to let them up. But if they don't, they could because Boston could turn it on.
I mean, I'll be interested to see how exactly they do that, because their offense is predicated upon flow and finding the open man, and whoever has the 3, in essence, unless you've got a drive to the rim, take that 3. So if Jimmy is going to be assertive, that means it's going to be more mid-range shots and drives to the rim from him, but more mid-range shots, which kind of he's the only one really within the offense. Dragic,
but he needs but if he comes out like that, then now Boston has to pay more attention to him, and that will get the other people open for the 3s. But True. He needs to come out and be a threat. He needs to make Boston fear him and be like, okay, we need to watch this dude. Don't let him go off. Don't let him go off. So they focus on him, and then everyone else can get 3s.
I think another question too is Crowder's showing last game from 3 more representative of who he is at this stage in his career, or is the previous, dear God, Crowder is shooting like he's back on the Boston Celtics 8 years ago, or how many ever years ago that was, and he's hitting 3s at a clip where you have to respect it. I mean, the last game was like, okay, that's what I expect from Crowder at this point in his career, not the previous iteration where it's, dear God, he's shooting 60% practically from 3. At least that's what it seems like.
I mean, I think they're all playing above their level. I don't know why any of them are playing so well, to be honest. I mean, Haslam, Dragic, like it's insane. Crowder, like they shouldn't be there, if you ask me.
Well, yeah. Goran, I think once he proved it, I'd be like, all right, it makes sense. And it's not so anomalous to me that it stands out.
Yeah, a white guard who can shoot 3s, put spots up and hit some 3s is not.
But
he's not just been spotting up. He's been coming off. He's been creating out his own step backs. Like, it's insane.
Driving to the rim and stopping on a dime like Murray did last night when Caruso went flying past him and just like, boom, I'm going to shoot a little floater from here from 10 feet out. But I expect that it's the Crowder when he's open and he shoots it. And I've gotten to the point in the playoffs here and we're like, that's probably going in, which is, it's just so strange that now the Iguodala trade has turned into the Crowder trade. Because Iggy is, looking old as shit so far.
He looked old the last playoffs he did with Golden State. But I mean, but he will have hit a game winner at some point. Like he will be that person. He will or get like a game winning like play, defensive play, something. He's always good for something.
Yeah, you would hope if you're going to put him in, it's a winning defensive play.
Yeah.
If you're worried about him or hoping that he can do it offensively, I think you're dead in the water at that point.
But I hope it's Boston. I hope it's Boston, LA. I mean, how can you imagine Denver, Miami in the playoffs or in the finals? It'd be terrible. Even though
the NBA doesn't really want it. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. But Boston, my friend was like, a friend of mine last night, we were talking, he was saying that he's not afraid of anybody. It's like, it's not even interesting now that it's not Lakers Clippers and that the Lakers don't have any real competition. And I was like, no, I think Boston would be good competition. One, I hope that they win because they've been to the Eastern Conference Finals. They've been there before. So I think they have the experience to get past, but also it's because like, okay, Lakers have the 2 best players on the court, no matter who they're playing against. But the next like 3 or 4 are Boston. If Boston's against, are Boston players, and that's why I like that matchup. It's like, no one can guard Davis, no one can guard LeBron, but then the next 3 people, no one else on the Lakers can guard them. I think it's a good match, not one-on-one, this person, but just team matchup. How these on paper, these guys are good.
Yeah.
These two are good. I think it could be fun, really fun.
I've been saying that about the Lakers now every round thus far. With Portland, I said, look, top two players. If you want to say it's Lillard and McCollum, fine. I like Nurkic better than anything else the Lakers have. I like Carmelo better than anything else. I mean, and then moving on to the next round and now to this round, I still do it with this round with Denver. I like guys 3, 4, and 5 better on Denver just for consistency's sake than I do on the Lakers, but you still have LeBron and AD, so we get to the finals. I agree. Once again, top talent goes to the Lakers, hands down. But then after that, if it is the Celtics, now the flip side of that with the Heat, yeah, I think it's an even match.
Yeah.
After that, 3, 4, 5, just because now you're asking, Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson and Goran Dragic, whoever you're going to say the 3, 4, 5 are. If Bam is 2, unless it's Bam is 3, but still, it's just like, I think the Lakers can easily match up with any of these guys. I think
why I hope it's Boston.
But I think as far as the NBA wants, they just want the Lakers in it for sure. And then if it's a Heat, then it's LeBron versus old team, and they've got those storylines. If it's the Celtics, it's a legacy matchup.
Lakers Celtics, I know. And Tatum kind of passing the torch. He's going to be coming up. And I mean, Hayward's always fun to watch. I mean, he's the good-looking white guy on the Celtics. Even though,
dude, he's got the twirly villain mustache coming in. The old one-piece swimsuit guy. It's ridiculous. Although he has now stated that he will not leave the bubble for the birth of his child. That was
wow.
He was going to do it. Originally when he came into the bubble, saying I am leaving on this date because that's the projected birth of my son. And then now because he sat out for so long and they're in the conference finals and they need him and it's the finals after this, he is now reversed because he's like, I got to spend a bunch of time with my family, so now I need to focus on this. Which
that's good.
Yeah,
it's a good wife. It's a good wife he has, hopefully.
And I also, it's just how many opportunities do you get in your professional life to potentially make the finals if you're not named LeBron James coasting through the East?
You could have another kid.
Yes, and you're going to be there for the kids, the rest of the kid's life. I think later on, if I was the kid, I'd be like, it's perfectly fine that you stayed.
Like I care. I don't remember.
Exactly. I don't remember. And potentially you won a championship or something like it was, or even if you made the finals, it was all, I fully understand. And they need him. Like having him in there is, he's deceptively bigger than you think. I believe he lists at 6'7" or 6'8", which is crazy. You don't think of him as that big, but then you add his arms and that extra little bit of length. Plus take some of the pressure off needing to have Smart come in and play massive minutes, which I love Marcus Smart, but even when he's making, which he has done quite a bit, and he's been hot, I still don't trust it fully. Yeah. I've seen enough times where it's just like, Marcus, your shot is off, buddy. Your shot is off. You need to stop doing this. But he's got all the confidence in the world. But yeah, tonight is
must win. Boston, you got to win tonight.
I am very much looking forward to tonight's game.
They had some time off, so hopefully they were able to incorporate Hayward into the practice. Hayward.
Yeah, well, I mean, it can only help, in my opinion, to get him back.
Oh yeah.
Well, there was a boatload of Boston fans when he went down and saying we're better without him. Like it streamlines the rotations and stuff like that.
Not in the playoffs, though. Not in the playoffs.
Yeah, and you also need another guy that is willing to drive and finish at the rim. Because you have more than enough guys that are content to just stand outside and shoot threes, which he can do that too. But he is someone who's happy to fly into traffic, and you need that to make a defense collapse so you can kick out to the shooters out there for those wide open shots.
What is that? It's so weird now. Like, I mean, I've the old man who like don't like the evolution of the NBA and analytics and all this stuff that's causing it. But it is so weird. You see every team. It's like, remember different teams had different styles of play, different plays, and they all worked for that team and whatever. No one had an advantage for the most part. And now every team it's the same fucking play. Every single team. Anybody can coach any one of these teams because it's the same thing. It's a high pick and roll, then ball, and you kick it back out. That person shoots. That's all it is. That's all it is. It's a pick and pop. And it's so weird. You see it happening. The same person on the top goes to the left wall of the wing. They do it there. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but You could say that about, okay, so
This is
in the
three-point
early 80s,
competition.
in the early 80s, it was we need a big man and we throw it down to the big man. And then once the defense collapses, he kicks out to an open defender to shoot from 15 feet type of thing. It was a mid-range game as opposed to a three. Fast forward to the 90s, it was you need an elite ISO player.
Yeah, but there's more fast breaks. Even now, the fast breaks, they stop at a 3-point line.
Sometimes, like that's still, even though the numbers bear out that you should shoot that, it bothers me every time somebody shoots that and they don't have a rebounder down there. Just one guy. Just one. But
it's just 3-point competition, and it's ridiculous. And the Clippers don't have that go-to 3-point competition. They don't have the Jamal Murray, the Steph Curry, I don't know if the Lakers even have it, to be honest. I mean, I guess LeBron's that. But you got to have a knockdown 3-point shooter who is like, everyone knows is going to make it no matter what. Clippers don't have that.
Well, every team needs to do what the Heat did and just go to the G League and the undrafted, the scrap heap, and you get the Duncan Robinsons of the world who, in a very short order, is going to be top 5, perennially, it looks like, is a 3-point shooter. For a kid that went to a Division III school and was undrafted, it's crazy.
You can learn to shoot. That's the thing. You can learn it. You can train, you can practice and learn to shoot and be a better shooter, which I don't understand why not everybody is a good shooter for that. I understand the big guys, just like why they can't shoot free throws, but any guard.
I think the Celtics, whoever he's D'ing up on offense or on defense rather, Duncan, I think that Celtic should keep driving to the lane to get him into foul trouble, to get him off the court, because he is such a weapon for them. And they're just like, fine, Tyler Hero and Crowder and you guys, you're good shooters, but that guy is flight. I mean, the last game, I don't know if he's attempted a 2-point shot so far in this series. And he went 6 of 12 one game. Like, he's going to shoot 35% on a bad night. But somewhere near 40 on average is like, we need to get this guy off the court. And if he's only going to shoot threes, whoever he is D'ing up, just drive to the rim. Force him to make a choice to give up either an easy 2 or take the foul, and let's get him off the court. Because it happened, what was that, game 1, where he got 3 fouls in 3 minutes and had 3 points, and he was sitting for a big chunk of the game. Just like, okay, that is a huge blow to them because they need his shooting out there to keep the spacing. I would do whatever I could to get him the fuck off the court as quickly as possible. Now, do you think that Boston should shift and play more Cantor instead of Tice?
I mean, Tice is worthless. You
think he's worthless? I think he's been pretty stout through the playoffs so far.
He's not worthless. He's not. I mean, he's a role player, but he needs to stick to his role. These people need to do. I mean, it's hard to do against Miami, anyways, because they're just so. They're kind of like Golden State was, like they're so efficient and playing together.
Yeah, which drives you nuts.
Yeah, especially because I don't even know half the people's names. Like, who are these people? And then some like fucking Haslam's 40 years old. It's like, how is he still in the league?
Yeah, I don't know how he's still in the league. Good for him, man. Still getting a paycheck to sit down there and be like this veteran mentor.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I like about Miami, though. It's a team where everybody made fun of Jimmy for going there. Just like, oh, really? You're about winning? No, you're about the payday and living in Miami. And then, he fits the culture of the Heat going into it. I knew that. Just like, look, everything we heard about Jimmy is he's a bulldog, and that is exactly what Miami wants. So I didn't think it'd be this season, but I figured within a couple seasons, once they get out from under the Tyler Johnson contract and the just the Haslam contract and whatnot, or not the Haslam, pardon me, the Whiteside contract, but they found buyers for those contracts, so they got out from under. So you got to give it to Pat Riley. He has constructed a team on the fly here that is in the Eastern Conference Finals a year or two ahead of schedule.
Yeah, it's surprising. It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, the GM and the coaching, everyone. I mean, just like. Kind of like Toronto from a year ago, that's pretty much, they're the new Toronto is basically what it is.
Okay. All right.
Jimmy Butler's the Kawhi Leonard of that team.
You know what's weird?
Jimmy Butler has more of a killer instinct than Kawhi and Paul George. Trade Paul George and Jimmy Butler.
I think Kawhi has a killer instinct. He just is so methodical that he doesn't wear his passion on his sleeve like Jimmy and a few other players do. I love that everything circles back. This is great. You're going to be just whipping yourself with a cat of nine tails until the next season starts, which now is not going to be until January. Adam Silver unofficially said that yesterday.
No Christmas game. That's the worst.
It's nothing official right now. Maybe they have a soft start on Christmas Day and then officially start. Yeah. Officially start in January. But yeah, yesterday Silver, was either yesterday or the day before, said, the 2021 season is basically just going to be played in 21. There will not be a game in 20, but unofficially, it could happen. Yeah, we shall see. I'm not entirely sure, but I know I'm going to miss the Christmas Day slate. I love that after you get through whatever.
Especially when they announced the schedule at the beginning of the season, and you always look for that Christmas Day game. It's always the rematch between whoever and whoever. It's always the rivalries. It's the best games.
It is, and then for some reason the Knicks. New York's got to be a part of this. It's always like one random team where it's excellent matchup, and they've got beef. Yeah, just like you said. And then there's one where it's always the early game too for the East Coast. I don't really give two shits about that.
Yeah. That's okay, I'll cook some food and eat.
Yeah, I invariably miss at least one game that day, and it's always the early game.
Yeah.
Because it's just been shit for so many years now. Because all the talent's been out west, and that's where all the prime matchups are going to be. This year it's like, wow, who do they want to have on those matchups? You could do an LA versus LA. I'm sure Dallas would be in that mix. Maybe like a Dallas versus Memphis or Memphis versus Pelicans, and you have like the young Bucks coming up type of game. Yeah, there's all kinds of possibilities as to what they could do. Who knows? Maybe they will. Maybe we'll still do the Christmas Day, and then we wait a week and officially start after that.
That's a good idea. I think you should do that. Opening day, Christmas Day, and then that's it, and then give a week off.
Yeah, but they're not going to have any fans in the stands. That's why they're holding off. They're hoping that where they can get more protocols in place and they can actually have fans out there. Although, Disneyland is now lobbying to open back up, and if they institute those type of protocols that they want to roll out, I think it's conceivable that you could do it. Which is just like everybody gets a temperature check as they're coming in, and you order your food via an app instead of waiting in line and just doing all that. You limit the number of people in, you space everybody out. Like, it's possible, but you're not going to play in front of 14,000. I don't think next season until the summer.
No. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do the season next year, but if they're just going to shorten it and have it go to the same length, like end in June, or if they're going to extend it through the summer, like they did with this, or what?
Well, they've said it'll be 82 games.
See, that's what's so dumb, because every year they always say how they play 2 games anyways. Like, they should shorten the season. They keep adding games and you shorten the season, but this is just about grabbing money, I guess. So they should just shorten the season, and I bet you it'd be great. It'd be probably better basketball, less injuries, and everyone playing a higher level, and then they can start this. It won't mess up the schedule for the following year.
Well, I think long term, a large portion of owners and GMs want the start pushed back because they don't want to compete against the NFL for the first 2 months of the season when they just get crushed and nobody pays attention. So
that's why they should shorten the season. Cut those games off. Play 68 games instead of 82 or something.
Yeah, but now you're just taking millions of dollars out of the money pool for owners and players. And will both sides agree to that? Who knows? And especially after they lost Chinese sponsorship, that's going to cost them tens of millions, if not $100 million, per season type of thing.
I mean, these players, I don't know about the owners, but the owners have enough money probably. But the players, they could supplement themselves. Like, if Look at it's all social media and stuff like that. Go and make all the money you want on your own. Like you have an extra month. Go do that. Go do TikToks and whatever else, and go make your own money. Speaking engagements, whatever, sponsored, vitamin water on your Instagram.
I love it. As old man John on the show today. Just go do your TikToks. Get out of here. Your twits.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. I think if they shorten the season,
model girlfriend do something.
If they shorten the season, then the jerseys are going to turn into soccer jerseys where it's no longer the Bulls across the front. It's brought to you by Delta.
Yeah.
That's how they're going to make up the money. They're not going to just give up all that money.
When is money? You have enough money. At what point do you make enough money? It's insane. They make plenty of money. Yeah, and guess what? You guys just stop paying everybody $100 million a game, then you don't need to supplement the income. Just don't pay them. If all of you, there's only 30 or 26 teams? How many teams are there?
There's 30 teams.
30 teams. Okay, so it's 30 teams. There's 30 people. If you guys all decide, hey, look, we're not going to pay them more than this, then guess what? Then none of you will have to pay them more than that. And that will be the standard. And they can go and do their TikTok.
Well, you have a CBA. You have a minimum that every team has to spend. So they have to adhere to certain rules, the ownership does. And you're forgetting one thing is, what's better than the amount of money we have now is more money than we have now. And human greed. It does. I realize.
I hate it. Just like Dodger games. You can't. Even Laker games are blacked out on certain TV. Like I'll try to watch a Laker game during regular season and they're blacked out. And it's like, this is bullshit because they have a TV deal. Like how much money is enough money? It's ridiculous.
Look, you're not wrong, but trying to take money away after it's been given is impossible.
Well, don't give anymore. Because, I'm already annoyed that the Clippers have Bumble on their jersey. Also, when did Bumble become that big of a company that they could just sponsor a basketball team?
I know there's a few out there, like the Celtics with GE. Sure, that makes all the sense in the world.
Exactly.
And it looks fine. That one actually, I don't mind. And then there are others where you're just like, really? OnlyFans has enough for? It's like all these random weird.
And now
companies.
I have to explain to my mom what Bumble and OnlyFans is when she's watching the game. She's like, "What's that? Why does it say Bumble on their jersey?"
Well, that's their corporate sponsor. I think if you take away games, then they're gonna find other ways to make up for that income loss. And if people had problems with, say, the league and players kowtowing to China's demands, that's only going to increase because they want to get those extra dollars from that side if they're going to fork over the loss of what you're saying is potentially 14 games. That's a shitload of money.
Well, then let's not add any more games. How about that?
Well, that's definitely not happening.
Ever.
Yeah.
Or add any more money ever.
Okay, well, you're just talking crazy.
No.
You're just talking crazy.
Some point it fall. What goes up must come down.
True. But at the same time, live sporting events are one of the few things that advertisers are more than willing to pay for. So the rights to that are one of the few things that is actually, increasing. Now, who knows in a couple more years. But that should be
illegal where the city you play in can't watch the games on TV. The city that's paying for your stadium, paying for your company, can't watch the games on TV.
Well, here in California, we don't pay for the state. We didn't pay for Staples. And we didn't pay for the Clippers' new stadium coming or Crocs one for the Rams. So they get a little more leeway. Yeah, in the other cities where the state subsidized it, or the city itself, and they had to put out bonds and whatnot, like the Bengals stadium practically bankrupted the Cincinnati.
Yeah, Detroit.
Yeah, exactly. So those cities, I think it's egregious, and you're correct. Here, it's it's their team at that point.
It's ridiculous.
I'm not sure what exactly we can do. It is ridiculous. You should be able to watch the games.
Which I remember growing up, as far as Dodgers, no home game was televised, only the away games. I don't understand why they did that. Maybe because they're like, well, you got to make us come to the stadium, I guess. I don't know. But no home game was televised. It's only the away games.
Okay.
Which is weird. I don't know why. Channel 9, KCAL.
Yeah, maybe it was that if they're playing at home, they just want to divert as many people they can to the actual stadium. as possible.
Yeah,
Or
and it wasn't even
radio.
cable; it was just regular network television.
Crazy. All right, so how many games do you think tonight's? If the Celtics win tonight,
It goes 7.
it goes
If
7.
they win tonight,
And if the Heat win tonight, you're guessing what?
6.
Okay, so then you would say the Celtics come back, win Game 5, and then Heat close out in Game 6.
Yeah,
I know this is the cliche of every game when with the build up to it and be like, oh, this is gonna set the tone, or this is do or die. Like they're all fucking do or die. But this has such a pivotal shift into the overall power structure of how the series could play out, because then it goes 3-1 and coming back, unless you're the Denver Nuggets, it's usually the nail in the
unless
coffin.
you're playing against the Clippers, basically.
Hey, look, Utah Jazz fans are also on the sidelines going, it's not just about you, Clippers fans.
It's not the first time it happened to the Clippers either.
True. And now Doc has coached it's something like 23% of all teams that have ever lost when they've gone up 3-1. So
yeah, it's crazy. They need to overhaul that team.
Over in the chat, Daniel Cara brought up what we talked about is will Butler get involved in the game before the fourth quarter? I think that's the key for the Heat. He needs to. He needs to assert himself more in the first half. That way they're not climbing back, because the Celtics get up by big numbers and then the Heat have to even it out. And then the Celtics go up and the Heat even it out. And basically they manage to even it out in games 1 and 2 in the fourth quarter and take the game ultimately. But the Celtics have the firepower to go up pretty quickly on them. So if Jimmy isn't there to set the tone and get some buckets early, it's just so weird to watch him be kind of non-existent for the first 2 to 3 quarters.
Yeah, he needs to. Tell you, he needs to go out there first play of the game and makes, even if he doesn't score, get assists, something first play of the game, make it happen. He needs to make them fear him, so when it comes to the fourth quarter, they're so worried about him, or they're so exhausted because everyone has just beaten him from every side. But yeah, he needs to be the one that everyone's looking at on the Boston Celtics. Is worried about him, double teaming him, whatever they do.
Yeah, I know he's got to be involved, because at this point, I have belief that Dragic is going to give you what he's going to give you. It's, minimum 20 points. Bam's going to give you what he's going to give you. So you need Jimmy to step up just in case Tyler Hero has a bad night. It's weird that you have to rely on a rookie this much, or that Duncan Robinson, gets into foul trouble again, or is not hitting his threes. That's why they made the trade for you, Jimmy. You've already had a 40-point game in the playoffs. You should by rights go out and be able to do that night in, night out. And if he's not willing to assert himself early on, now maybe that's by design. The Heat want to get more people involved, so later in the game, if they need to make these runs, more guys are
ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. But
not like Kobe Bryant, where they haven't touched the ball all game and then he gets mad if they don't make the game-winning shot.
Yeah,
it's like, whoa, I haven't shot a ball all game.
Exactly. I've been cold. I've been sitting on the bench and I just checked in and I still haven't touched the ball. I touched the ball as much as I did on the bench. Like watching Game 3.
Haslam, you down? Haslam's going to give you what he's going to give you, which is like a Werther's original.
That's fine. They don't need him to do anything else than hand out Werther's. If you're relying on Haslam to win a game at this point, then your season is over. And it's nothing against Udonis, but he is so old by NBA standards at this point.
He's Robert Parrish. He's the new Robert Parrish.
He was a cog in the machine during the championship run.
Yeah. Same with Gorgon. That's why I'm like, what is going on? Like when I see these like games, I'm like, this is 2007. I don't know when it was that he won. 2013.
2007 would be 14 years ago. So it's a long time. But yeah, whereas is Tatum's going to, like at this point, I know exactly what I'm going to get from Tatum. Brown is still a little bit of a question mark, but I have faith he's going to give me what he's going to give me. Kemba needs to assert himself as well.
Just like Jimmy. Him and Jimmy need to be going at each other.
Yeah.
to be honest.
Well, that's what I liked about him in game 2, who just came out, heard the criticism from game 1, had a discussion with, Brad, the coach, and just said, I realized Brad Stevens was going to sit him down. He's like, do you want to talk? And Kemba was like, no, I know what I did wrong and I know what I need to change. And Brad, knowing Kemba, was just like, okay, I believe you. Like, you're a veteran professional. So I don't need to coach you through this. So
if Hayward can get a double-double, they will win this series. If he can average a double-double. Or close to it.
I would agree with that, because then it just frees up the rest of their offense.
He doesn't need 25 points, but if he can get 15, 12, and also, 6 assists, 8 rebounds, something like that.
Well, I think if he can do that, it takes the pressure off Jaylen Brown to need to be the true second banana.
Mm-hmm.
Because, it's either going to be Brown or Kemba. Tatum views himself as the number 1, and their offense defers to him like he is the number 1. So he is the number 1. And then after that, it should be Kemba at the 2. But there are certain nights where it's Brown and whatnot. And if you have Hayward chipping in, then it really doesn't matter if you have, instead of 2 guys getting 20 apiece, 3 guys getting, 15 to 18.
And now you're playing like the Miami Heat. You're fighting fire with fire.
Yeah, it's the Boston has proved they can get up. It's just letting the Heat back in. They take their foot off their throat, which they didn't do in game 3. They just kept it decisively as best they could, pressed against the throat, cutting off the airflow. They need to do that more, because if they come out, do what they've done in these other games, get a lead early, they just need to not let up. And if they switch to a fucking zone, then make sure that you get the rebounds that a zone provides and hurt them. Stick a guy at the nail or the elbow and make him the fulcrum of the offense. So that way the defense has to collapse down on him, even though it's a zone, and you ping the ball around.
Yes. Look to the Clippers. Do we learn nothing from the Clippers? Don't do what they do, which is let every team come back and win.
Is that going to be your answer to every all of life's questions for the foreseeable future until January? Is all that
what
bad
would the
happen?
Clippers do? And then not do it.
Think of what Doc would do, and then just do the opposite.
Is he even their coach? I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand how. Here's a defensive coach, right? They're supposed to be a defensive team, and they can't guard one goddamn person on the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, I do that with a lot of coaches. Oh, he's an offensive-minded coach or a defensive-minded coach. I think of Doc as a managing high-end personalities coach.
Well, then they need to get some high-end personalities, because at least ones that also have high-end skill sets.
I love it. It's like a vaudeville act. It didn't even matter what I said there. It fucking didn't. Oh, he's good at managing the cap. Well, they need to get somebody better in there to manage that cap. It's just like...
Because when it's fucking your higher end personalities, like is Morris, who doesn't have the high end skill sets, like that's who so that you just have like a blind guy leading the rest of you guys. It's ridiculous. And
well, technically it's Kawhi and PG, but
no, they're not leading anything. PG is the most overrated player I've ever seen.
He
looks cool when he's doing. He's like between the dribbles at the top of the key, but it's like, but you can't do anything though. He's not faster than these people, the people guarding him. He's not stronger than the people guarding him. He can't shoot better than the people who are guarding him. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I have his shoes.
I lay a little bit of blame at Kawhi's feet, but I lay the bulk of the blame at PG's.
Kawhi's problem is he gets defeated, it seems like. He doesn't get mad. He gets defeated.
Potentially. Or maybe he looked over and be like, you know what? I shouldn't have. When I handed the Clippers the list of guys I was willing to play with, I shouldn't have put PG on that list.
Poor Paul George. I tweeted about him at him, but afterwards I also said thanks for the good year, because I don't want him to feel bad. But at the same time, I mean what I said.
I mean, I actually screwed up texting you yesterday, so I'll be surprised if Harold comes back.
Honestly, I wish Joakim Noah was played more minutes, because no one else could guard Jokic. So put someone bigger in there. See what they can do.
Yeah, I mean, he's
Who cares if he can't do other stuff, but put him in there. He has heart. He has grit, and he's tall.
All the stories that are coming out, it looks like PG rubbed a bunch of the Clippers the wrong way.
By calling them, by saying like not caring and kind of saying that they.
Well, like
good. I remember hearing something like right after the game, but then.
Yeah, he said, "Hey, we need to basically double down and come back next year and whatnot." The reports out of the locker room were that players are like, "Shut the fuck up!" Like they didn't say that, but all their attitudes are like, "Shut the fuck up." And then there was that dust up with Montrezl Harrell late in Game 7, where Harrell was trying to say, "Hey, on that you should," or PG was giving him advice, and Harrell was trying to come back and say, "We should have switched on that." And PG wasn't having it, and Harrell's quoted as saying, "Oh yeah, you're never wrong, PG. My fault. I'll just go shut up and play." In essence, it seems like PG has rubbed more than one, just by being PG.
I love Montrezl Harrell. He is the heart of that team. I think, as far as like people who play, but I feel like I've seen his skill set, and I don't know what more he's going to be, how much better he's going to get.
He's not.
Yeah,
and so, he's at his ceiling.
So it's like, okay, fine, Montrezl, you want to leave? Go ahead. Like. We can fill that spot, you know. Like there's plenty of other people who can fill that spot.
Depending on what people are willing to pay him, yeah, he is not a linchpin.
Yeah,
but it would be nice to have him back because him and Beverly give you guys energy and a tough mentality that without them, you're not going to get from anybody else.
I mean, even even Beverly, it's like, okay, what did you do for me? What have you done for me lately?
Well, him not being there for a big chunk of the bubble, I think, affected overall, like once he got back, how good he was going to be. So had he been there the whole time, maybe it would have had a different outcome. I'm not sure.
Everybody's saying, oh, just give him a year. This is a new team. It's their first year together. Forget that, because we've seen what they can do. Even when they play, fine, give them a whole nother season. Outcome's going to be the exact same. They should have lost to Dallas. If Doncic and Porzingis were healthy, they would have lost.
But if Porzingis doesn't foul out in that game, Dallas wins that game. So by game 3, it's Dallas 2-1 and completely changes the.
And then don't let Doncic hurt his ankle. Let him be 100%. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I think it's just because the Clippers didn't take him seriously. They just assumed we're making the final, or at least the conference finals. All right. Well, let's end it there. So you're saying Celtics win tonight, Celtics in 7. Heat win tonight, Heat in 6. Lakers in 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And hopefully it's Celtics, Lakers, in the NBA championship.
I still think
Tatum
the Lakers
dunking on LeBron, Tatum blocking LeBron like 2 years ago.
I still think Denver could take another one from the Lakers. So I think that's minimum a 6-game series. It could go 7, but we'll see. The next game will dictate, just like this one.
If it's Denver, Boston, I think Denver wins the championship.
They have nobody to shut down Jokic. Tice is going to get into foul trouble, and then you're going to put in Time Lord or Cantor, but Cantor gives you no defense. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Could be Denver's year. It'd be like the year Dallas won it. Just everything aligned, and they got it. And Miami wasn't fully the super team that they would be the year after.
I think Caruso should be playing in those crucial minutes over Rondo. I think Rondo started the defense, started the run. Well, that's great, but now we're down 3. Put Caruso back in, take Rondo out because we need offense at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And even if Rondo
didn't.
Up until last night, he's shooting insanely, like better than Rondo's ever shot from 3.
Yeah.
I still don't buy it. Every time he pump fakes, just like, okay.
Caruso's been killing. Caruso's the most consistent player on Lakers. I love him. I can't believe this guy who looks like he should be selling watches at a pawn shop in Glendale, and it's crazy.
He should just shave his head and get it over with. This pathetic little wisp of 7 hairs is all right, man.
But I mean, do you see it? Like he dunk? Like I didn't even know he can jump like that. He's just like dunking on Murray.
Oh, really?
It's crazy. He's great.
Dude, there's great clips of him when he was still on the Lakers G League team and just yamming it on guys.
He's
like,
awesome.
Who is this guy?
Yeah.
All right. Well, anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
No, watch. I don't know. I mean, I'm a Laker fan at this point because the Clippers are so
Well,
ridiculous.
that's sacrilege for Clippers fans. So good for you.
Like I love watching LeBron and AD and Caruso. Like it's a great season. I hope they win. I mean, like I said, if the Clippers weren't going to win, which one I thought this is going to be our year because just our luck. We win the year that's like you can't go to the games. It's like a weird season, short. But then we didn't even win. So if we don't win, then at least I'm glad the Lakers are going to win with the year that Kobe Bryant passed away and all this other stuff. It's like this would be LeBron's there. He wants to bring him a championship. Like, yeah, I think I'm glad to lose to the. Well, we didn't even lose to them. That's the point. If we would have been Lakers Clippers, I would have been happy even if Clippers didn't win because like, hey, we lost to the Lakers. We lost to the best team. We lost to the team that was representing Kobe Bryant. All this stuff is like that's a good team to lose to. But we lost to Denver Nuggets. It's ridiculous.
You're the first Clippers fan that has agreed to come back on. Like I asked a few guys that hadn't been on yet since the bubble started back up, just because schedules hadn't aligned yet. And as soon as the Clippers as soon as the Clippers lost, he's like, I'm not doing the show. I haven't even followed up just because we couldn't line up schedules early on. He just sent me a text. He's like, I'm not doing the show. And then I had one lined up for the day after you guys lost, and he texted me and he's like, I'm not coming on today.
I was so mad. I'm still mad. Like you want to talk about it. It's just so like, of course this happened. Of course. You fucking Clippers. Of course this happened. It's like it's easier when they're terrible. Because like we're terrible. Who can we expect to be terrible? But I still love watching Darius Miles and Quentin Richardson. Like it's still great. I still love them, even though we're terrible. But the fact that you pretend that you're good and then you look stupid playing the Denver Nuggets, the team that shunned Sharif Abdul-Rahim for being Muslim. Like, this is ridiculous.
Okay, well, that was 30 years ago, but all right.
Still.
Okay.
He would be better. Pick him up. Did you see him on the 3-on-3 season?
Yeah,
league?
No,
he would be better.
Gray as fuck, but still lighting it up from outside.
He would be better. Put him out there.
Well, there you go. The bitterness of the Clippers will continue. Hey, look, at least you were in it. As a Bulls fan, it's just like I'm getting tweets asking, hey, what do you think of Billy Donovan? Be like, I don't even know. It's a much better coach to me than Jim Boylan, but at the same time, it's like let's see what his direction for this team is before I have any kind of excitement over apathy.
Do we get rid of Doc? Is that the thing? Or we may make
You've already said you're keeping him.
Then do we get rid of him being the GM?
He's not the GM. He hasn't been the GM for 2 seasons now.
Really? Jerry West will be helping us. Where's Jerry West on this?
Jerry West fleeced the Lakers for Zubac and
but then we didn't get Michael Porter Jr. also.
Yeah, that was dumb. I don't know why you didn't do that. Watching that draft, it's just like, okay, Clippers are going to take Shea and then now take Porter because you can stash him and you don't really need anybody. Okay, they didn't. They took another guard. All right. It's like when Minnesota took two point guards over Steph Curry. Just like, what? Why? Took Johnny Flynn, who was out of the league in 3 years, and Ricky Rubio. I don't know. Teams make mistakes. Sorry, nothing to plug before we get out of here?
Follow me on Instagram at Jon Flannigan.
Yeah, follow him at Jon Flannigan. Thanks for tuning into today's Dropping Dimes. For those that joined us on the live chat, thank you so much. I'll be back on Friday. I think I might just do another live chat show with you guys chiming in. Maybe we'll do a guest to join us like we did last Fridays, where one of you guys can jump in, give me your 2 cents. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do, or the podcast feed of your choice. I'd thoroughly appreciate it. Give us a rating, whatever you'd like to do. That is it for this Wednesday edition of Dropping Dimes. I will see you guys on Friday, going live at noon once again. Adios.
Cancun.